Outstanding students called to pursue teaching degree. SOCSO called to extend self-employment scheme. Good afternoon, welcome to News on 2. I'm Jessica Lee. The Ministry of Education wants high-achieving Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia or SPM school leavers to apply for a bachelor's degree in teaching PPISMP at its Teachers Education Institutes or IPGS. Its Minister Dr. Mazli Malik said 6,000 seats have been offered under the program, but many such outstanding students were more focused on professional courses, while the country was still in need of excellent teachers. In addition, Dr. Mazli said MOE also encouraged school leavers to become Mandarin and Tamil language teachers as there was a need for them in Chinese and Tamil national type schools.
Tawaran 5,200, maksudnya yang kita perlukan 6,000, tetapi yang minta ramai. Jadi kita perlukan ramai pelajar-pelajar yang cemerlang, tidak hanya tertumpu ingin ambil contohnya perubatan semata-mata ataupun farmasi. Kita perlukan cikgu-cikgu yang cemerlang juga. Dan kita menghadapi kurangnya permohonan untuk guru-guru yang mengajar bahasa Mandarin dan bahasa Tamil yang diperlukan di SDKC dan di SDKT.
Dr. Mazli said this at the Ministry's Breaking of Fast event with the media in Putrajaya yesterday. The Human Resources Ministry is recommending that the Social Security Organisation or SOCSO extend the self-employment scheme SPS to include farmers, fishermen, hawkers and artistes. Minister M. Kulasegaran said the proposal was to ensure that apart from those with employers, workers in the informal business sector would also receive protection in the event of an accident or any untoward incident.
Saya telah memberitahu kepada Perkeso supaya membuat perbincangan dengan sektor-sektor tersebut supaya kita dapat melindungi semua sektor di negara ini supaya kalau jadi apa-apa mereka ada perlindungan. Saya rasa ini adalah satu hala tuju yang bagus kerana ini sudah pun digunakan di banyak negara-negara yang maju. Maka ini adalah satu di antara yang sedang diusaha oleh Perkeso.
Kulasegaran said this after SOCSO's Breaking of Fast event in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. Earlier in his speech, Kulasegaran said the scheme was extended to taxi drivers, e-hailing drivers and those who drive buses, school buses, factory buses and tour buses from February 2019. Meanwhile, speaking at the same event, CEO Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Azman Aziz Mohamad said taxi and e-hailing drivers who fail or refuse to register with SOCSO could be compounded between 500 and 4,000 ringgit depending on the offence and duration it was committed. Food and beverage products valued at 165,250 ringgit were seized under the Food Act 1983 between January and April this year. Malacca Health and Anti-Drug Committee Chairman Lau Chi Leong said the items were seized from 46 supermarkets in the state because the products were damaged, mouldy, leaking or rusting. According to Lau, some goods were in dented cans while the labelling on others did not comply with conditions, had no expiry date or were expired products. He said a total of 3 compound notices under the 1985 food regulations amounting to 10,000 ringgit were issued in the first 4 months of this year. Elaborating further, he said that they were items that had no import date markings, being prepared for sale or selling packaged food items that had an expired shelf life.
So, saya rasa tidak puas hati lah. Walaupun kita sentiasa, pihak JKN sentiasa memberi nasihat, kerja-kerja pantau, kerja-kerja spot check untuk memperingati pengusaha lah. Tapi masih berlaku juga. Saya tidak puas hati lah.
Speaking at a press conference in conjunction with operation of the Aidilfitri festive season yesterday, Lau said 2 compound notices for a sum of 6,500 ringgit were issued to supermarkets in the Jasin vicinity, while another compound notice for a sum of 3,500 ringgit was issued to a supermarket in the Malacca district. Also present at the event was Malacca Health Department Director Dr. Rushdie Ramli. 3 women died in a road accident between a trailer and a four-wheel drive along Jalan Pesisir Bintulu Miri yesterday. Bintulu Fire and Rescue Department officer Azman Johari identified them as Gensa Ungau, 36, Nuai Bakar, 23, and Lenggidi Koling, 57. According to Azman, all 3 women died on the spot in the accident, which took place at 1:45 p.m. Azman said firefighters who rushed to the scene found that the Fortuner four-wheel drive vehicle was carrying 10 people, 8 adults and 2 children. He said passers-by had helped to remove the occupants from the vehicle. The 7 injured victims were sent to Bintulu Hospital, while the remains of the 3 women were handed over to the police. 2 lorry trailers caught fire in an incident at Nico Auto Parts Gurun Kedah yesterday. One of the trailers contained 41,000 litres of used oil, while the second trailer carried nothing. Fire and Rescue Department in a statement released said that 5 other tanks which did not contain any oil, however, did not catch fire. According to the statement, Operations Commander, Fire Assistant Superintendent Muhammad Nur Iman Mustafa said the actual content of the trailer included used engine oil which was meant for recycling. The fire department received a call at 1:14 p.m. and arrived at the scene 6 minutes later. Members and officers of Gua Chempedak Fire and Sungai Petani Fire and Rescue Department participated in the firefighting operation. The flames were brought under control 2 hours later. The cause and total amount of losses is still under investigation. An unemployed man pleaded not guilty in the Alustar Sessions Court to 3 counts of raping his own child. The accused, Fakrul Hadi Judit, aged 44, made the plea before Judge Sharifah Nur Azlita Said Salim Idit. According to the charges, the accused allegedly committed the heinous act against his 10-year-old daughter 3 years ago. The 3 charges were committed by the accused on 13th, 14th and 15th of April 2016 at a house in Tamanwira, Mergong, Alustar. The accused was charged under Section 376B, subsection 1 of the Penal Code, which carries a maximum jail term of 30 years and a minimum of 10 lashes if convicted. Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Ali Farhan Hassan did not offer bail to the accused, as the offences he committed are very serious. The accused, who was unrepresented, did not appeal. The court did not set bail and set June 19th as the date of submission of documents and the appointment of a lawyer. Coming up, tourism sector sees positive development in first quarter of 2019. The National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or PTPTN, needs at least 4 billion ringgit a year to ensure new students at varsities are able to enjoy the benefits of the study loan. PTPTN Communications, Strategic and Marketing Senior General Manager Abdul Ghaffar Yusof, however, said loan repayments continue to be dismal, with the National Study Loan Body collecting only about 58% of its target so far this year. According to Abdul Ghaffar, PTPTN was supposed to be collecting 300 million ringgit a month, but are now only receiving between 150 to 180 million ringgit each month.
Last year kita sepatutnya collect lebih kurang dalam sepatutnya 4 bilion setahun kita perlu collect. Kerana kita perlu beri pada pelajar-pelajar baru dan juga pelajar yang sedia ada ni 4 bilion. Jadi sekarang ni mungkin momentum tu masih yang potong gaji tu masih okey lah. Tapi ada yang masih lagi belum bayar dan sebagainya tu masih lagi ada defaulters. Tapi secara keseluruhannya consultation paper tu akan memberi kita satu ruang yang mana idea tu boleh diterjemahkan jadi polisi bayaran balik PTPTN.
Speaking at the PTPTN Debt-Free Competition 2018-2019 organised by youths yesterday, Abdul Ghaffar said as at 30th of April, the current cumulative outstanding loan amount involving 350,000 defaulters stood at 6.5 billion ringgit. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) says there are no consequences to Malaysia's economy from the country's inclusion in the United States Treasury's monitoring list of potential currency manipulators. Now, BNM said the Malaysian economy remains resilient, underpinned by strong economic fundamentals, including the flexibility accorded by a floating exchange rate and strong external balance. Malaysia is among 9 countries in the list, alongside China, Germany, Italy, Ireland, Japan, South Korea, Singapore and Vietnam. The inclusion comes with no immediate penalty. Malaysia also met 2 of the 3 criteria amid a significant bilateral trade surplus with the United States of $27 billion and material current account surplus of 2.1% of GDP. Explaining this, Bank Negara said Malaysia supported free and fair trade and did not undertake unfair currency practices. As acknowledged by the report, the central bank's intervention over the last few years had been in both directions of the foreign exchange market. Bank Negara said about half of Malaysia's trade surplus is driven by commodity exports, which is largely influenced by global demand and supply as opposed to the exchange rate. It added that the manufactured goods surplus, on the other hand, is partly driven by the long-standing presence of large export-oriented multinational corporations in Malaysia, including from the United States. The tourism sector recorded positive development in the first quarter of this year, earning 21.4 billion ringgit in receipts due to an increase of 16.9% from 18.3 billion ringgit received in the same period last year. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato' Muhammadin Ketapi said the increase was attributed to the rise in tourist arrivals by 2.7% or 6.69 million compared to 6.52 million in the first quarter of 2018. According to Dato' Muhammadin Ketapi, the average expenditure per tourist rose by 13.8% from 2,813 ringgit to 3,201 ringgit. He said the highest per capita tourism expenditure was from the Saudi Arabian market at 11,069 ringgit, while the lowest was from the Japanese market at 4,113 ringgit. Moreover, he said the biggest contributor in terms of tourist expenditure came from the short-distance market, namely the ASEAN region at 9.9 billion ringgit, and long-distance market, specifically the United Kingdom, which amounted to 483.6 million ringgit.
Membuatkan peningkatan ini apabila kita membuat atau menyertai pasaran promosi negara di luar negara. Contoh dia macam di World Travel Mart di London. Di situ kita akan berjumpa dengan industry player dan juga connectivity yang banyak kita bincang.
Dato' Muhammadin Ketapi said the average length of stay of foreign tourists in Malaysia in the first quarter of 2019 rose by 1.8 nights to 6 nights from 4.2 in 2018. FGV Holdings Berhad is keen to get involved in efforts to export palm oil to China. However, Chief Executive Officer Dato' Haris Fazila Hassan said it depends on commodity prices agreed upon by both countries.
We are in talks. I mean, there are companies in Malaysia that have been roped in with regard to China. But of course, for FGV, we need to look in terms of what are the price. You know, if the price is they have positive margin, definitely this is something that we like to go into.
Dato' Haris said the matter in relation to the export is still at a stage of discussion between the government and industry players. He was commenting on the government's successful effort in convincing China to increase exports of oil palm from Malaysia. In March, Malaysia signed a document of intent for the purchase of a Chinese company to export a total of 1.62 million tons of oil palm to the Republic nation. And that concludes this afternoon's edition of News on 2. In our top story, outstanding students called to pursue teaching degree. Join me again at 7 this evening. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant day ahead.